Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a combo that might just be an absolute ridiculously nasty performer. At least that's the idea anyway. There's the chance that it could kind of go sideways as well with these shells through this particular choke, or constriction anyway. We'll see what happens because we've never tested these shells through this tight of a choke before, so it could possibly go either way, I suppose. But for the shells we've got today, I brought out some more of the Rocky Ridge TSS shells. These ones are a 12 gauge, 3-inch, 2¼ ounce payload of TSS 9s at about 1200 feet per second. We know what these shells are capable of. It's been a while since we've tested any of these in particular, but they have always been some absolute hammers. And 2¼ ounces of 9s is a lot of pellets flying down range. So that is a pretty big payload, especially for today's choke and constriction. We'll see if it works out in our favor or not. If it does, it's going to be absolutely devastating at 40. If not, we could really blow our pattern all over the place. So we'll see what we can get, but we know we've got a great shell to start with anyway. But for our setup that we're running, I brought out the Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and for the choke, we've got one of these. This is a Remington TSS turkey choke. It's a 645 constriction. That'll be the tightest constriction that we've ran these shells through, and it may or may not work out in our favor. We have tested some of these Remington TSS turkey chokes before, but it's always been the 650 constriction variant. I never had a 645, so I had to pick one of those up as well, since I'm trying to kind of collect all the pieces of the different Remington chokes. From what I've seen, they made a 645 and a 650 TSS. Now we've got both of them, but this will be the first test with the 645, and we'll see if it works out for us or not. These are generally good chokes, but that's a big stout payload, so is it going to be able to actually handle it? That's the question. Before our test today, we're running everything the same as usual. I've got the turkey target set up at 40 yards and the chrono to get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target. We'll take our shot and see how this works out for us. I think we stand a really good chance of getting a pretty ridiculously hot core, but what are the edges going to do? Are we going to blow them out, or are we going to constrict everything down super tight? I don't know. Let's take the shot and see what happens. Okay, that shell gave us 1303 through the chrono. Boss claim is 1200, so we are a good little bit above that number. That is starting to get up and move on out for sure. That's more than enough for velocity, but did we actually hold a good pattern together down there at 40? And did that big of a payload actually work out through that tight of a choke? Let's go check it out and see what we got. Okay, so here we are down at our 40-yard paper, and we see a pretty decent looking little pattern here. We absolutely have a dead bird at 40, no doubt about it. There are a ton of them through the head and neck area there that would have done the job. Clearly, there is nowhere he can go to and get through that pattern. That core area that we see on the turkey target is nice and even. No major voids or anything within there. So looking good there. Maybe it might not be as tight of a core as what we have seen from these shells previously. Probably because we're running a little bit too much choke here, to be honest with you, but it held together pretty well. Outside of that, we really don't open it up too much. We do have a little bit of stuff starting to kind of string its way off down there at the bottom. Maybe a few little bits and pieces on the left and up towards the top there as well. But considering how much choke that is and how big of a payload we have, it handled it pretty nicely. It definitely did not blow our pattern all over the place, that's for sure. We definitely stood a real chance of that happening, and it really didn't. And honestly, what we see here is kind of floating right in the middle. I would say we definitely got our way started in having too much constriction and opening the pattern back up, but we haven't quite hit the point of ruining our pattern yet. So I guess I'll call it like a controlled blow open of the pattern, if that makes any sense. It's tight, but we went over the constriction mark just far enough to open it up a little bit more, have a little bit more even of a spread of a core rather than an absolute baseball, but not tight enough to where we blew the whole thing out. out and completely went the other way yet. So very interesting results there for sure. Clearly that is an absolute hammer. I would not hesitate to hunt with it at all. Do you need this big of a shell or this expensive of a shell in 12 gauge to do the job for turkeys? Absolutely not. A lead load will be perfectly fine, but for you guys that want to run a TSS load, that combo right there would be a perfectly viable option for you for sure. But let's pull the turkey target down. I'll finish drawing some circles and counting pellets, and we'll really see numbers wise exactly what this pattern did. Okay, now we've got our turkey target down and out of the way, and yep, it looks about exactly like I thought it would. Nice, even spread throughout most of the pattern there. No major voids or anything like that to worry about. It's just a pretty good hunting pattern overall. We have a 10 and 20 inch circle drawn there. Within our 10-inch core, we have 376 pellets. Nice, even spread. It's hot right through the middle of it, so nice core for sure. Outside of that, with our 20-inch leeway ring, we pick up an additional 273 pellets, and I really kind of like how even it is. Most of the way out there towards the edge, we've got pretty decent coverage. Might have a little thinner spot up here just at the very top edge where I wrote that number, but for the most part, everything within that 20-inch ring is pretty nice and even. I definitely wouldn't hesitate to hunt it at all. Outside of that, we do pick up a few little stringy flyers and stuff around the edges. That's what we were seeing earlier as well, so no surprise there. And we are probably over constricting these shells just a little bit, so that's not too unsurprising either. Overall though, that's just a solid pattern. Putting that big of a payload through that tight of a choke could have really gone sideways for us pretty quickly. But that just goes to show that yes, indeed, you can choke down TSS shells. There are some people out there that have commented and stuff saying you can't really constrict down a TSS shell. They much prefer way more open chokes than lead and stuff like that. And I mean, there is some truth to that. There are some TSS loads that are more picky and you can't really choke them down too much. But there are some that if they're a good load, you can indeed run them through a much tighter choke than what you would probably think. Do you need to? No, a much more open choke is still perfectly fine. But that doesn't mean you can't do it and still get good results out of it, because here you go. Here's one of them. So it's just yet another great pattern from a Rocky Ridge load. They definitely make some good stuff for sure. And the trend continues yet again with those Remington TSS chokes. Even the 650 that we've tried a few times has generally given us a pretty even hunting spread. For being tighter on the constriction side, a lot of times they really don't have those super baseball cores, and they really don't blow our pattern all over the place either. So they are some good chokes, it seems like. If you want that nice hunting spread, it may be worth a chance for you to go pick one of those up for 25 or 30 bucks on eBay or something and try them out and see what you can get, because that is yet another perfectly fine, great looking hunting pattern. And here's the wad out of that shell. You could definitely tell that we're starting to get down there in the constriction, starting to get the little snags on the end. That choke does have porting in it as well, which is a contributor to that. But you can see we're just starting to really scrape the edges up here. Nothing poked through it or anything, so we're not dangerously over constricting anything or something like that. So no major damage, but you can tell that it was run through a tighter constriction. Overall though, looks perfectly fine. Nothing that I'm worried about here, and it clearly did its job perfectly fine for us. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that result right there? I think we pretty well covered it at this point. It's just a great hunting pattern. Although you really don't need a big, heavy payload, expensive, fancy TSS shell to kill turkeys at 40 yards from a 12 gauge. If you're the guy that doesn't mind spending that kind of money and wants to run a TSS shell, clearly these are some good options for sure. Rocky Ridge makes some great stuff. We've had a ton of really nice results with their shells across the board. And even these Remington TSS chokes have always been some pretty good performers for us as well. For them being a 645 and a 650 constriction, at least the two variants of them that I've found so far myself, they usually give us some pretty nice hunting patterns. I don't know that we've ever seen a completely blown open pattern or one of the patterns where we get those super screaming tight cores with the rest of the pattern being all over the place from them. They're usually very nice performers. So for 25 to 30 bucks, they may be worth a shot. If you run an 870 or an 1187 or something like that, pick one of them up and see what it gives you. but that is just an absolute hammer. It's a nice hunting pattern, it's full, it's even, so not much to really dislike about that one. But let me know all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you surprised one way or the other? Is that a combo you would run? Or if you're running 12 gauge, would you much rather just run a lead shell and keep it a little cheaper? Or if you are a TSS guy, would you hunt with that? Have you tested any of these Rocky Ridge shells and or one of those Remington TSS chokes? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? And maybe what other shells do you want to see us put through that choke? Or what other chokes do you want to see us run those Rocky Ridge loads through? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, you have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.